comfortable right now, and it shows. We have the Nine of Cups, the Empress, and the Six of Pentacles, and what's influencing this is the Fool, the Ace of Wands, and the High Priestess in reverse. You know what this feels like, all of these together? This feels like civil disobedience. And by that, let me explain, okay? Look at all the red here and where it's positioned. You have red on the ankles, red on the hat, so on the top of the crown chakra there. And then you have this red blanket that the Empress is resting on, and red from the roses all over her dress, right? And then you have the red cloak, the red hat, and the red pants, and the belt, right? What's so fascinating about this right now is that you are clearly in a place to where you are perfectly fine sitting with your own energy because you are comfortable managing it. Instead of this just being a wish card, this is a card of free will, and you're exercising it. Look at how there's a balance here. Crossed arms, I got boundaries, but the legs are open. I'm still receptive. I just may not be showing you all my business, but you do know my feet are on the ground and my mind is on. I'm functioning, and I am comfortable with how I'm currently working with my own energy and have no problem letting you sit in yours. That's that civil disobedience that I feel is coming up. And that's why it's showing. It shows because you are radiating something totally different now. Naturally, because you have more energy. You have more resources left over for you. Listen, your bank account doesn't have to look perfect. Your wardrobe doesn't have to look perfect. You don't have to have the right haircut, the right makeup, the right cut, you don't have to have any of that to have the energy that still is magnetizing exactly what you want. This is not just this is graduating from a wish to free will, because you're participating. You're not just saying, "Oh, I hope." No. You're just like, "No, I know. I know that when I continue to prioritize me, not enough, but as just a natural function of my reality, I experience more balance in my life. I show up when it's appropriate. In fact, I'm covered in so much red here. It's because I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. You see, I'm going to do what I know how to do. I'm going to share what I know how to share. And I also know what my capacity is. I know what I can afford to give. You're comfortable right now. Part of what made all this energy available to you was closing the bank. The neon sign is not on. Wow. Usually upright, we can see this as the energy of, we can talk about fertility. I think that's going to be really important here for some of us, especially with, right? But this is portal and access. Keys to source. These pillars. Somebody has decided, I'm not going to uphold the system anymore. You see, she's holding the Torah, bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, usually a rite of passage from a child into an adult, right? So there are expectations. This could be talking about a very binary way of existing, binary system, male, female, right? We could be looking at systems like that, but also how we're expected to perform in these systems. How are we supposed to perform? Look at this very phallic card, masculinity. How are we supposed to make other people comfortable? How are we supposed to show up? How am I supposed to disperse my energy? It doesn't matter now because it's closed. I preserve it for me. The Ace of Wands supporting the Fool. Hello, this person has no problems following their inspiration. Shameless. There's a shamelessness that the Fool has. Shameless. Shameless. You're at a certain age, no children, no marriage. Oh, your career's not together yet? You haven't accomplished this and that yet? I don't give a shit. That's what's influencing you, not giving a damn. Because that's your free will. You understand it's a choice to care about it now, where you are in your life. Because those of you who are watching it, you are in a place to where you can afford this. You can afford it. Okay. Let's talk about, okay, finances are coming up for a moment, so let's talk about that. We have a lot of reference to like natural body functions here. And I'm going to point that out because I mentioned the fertility of the high priestess and the portal, the access portal and source, which some people might say is womb, the womb, right? The open legs, but you see the crossed arms support that too. And then you have the Empress, which can talk about pregnancy, gestation, waiting for that moment of inevitable labor that then creates or brings new life into order, which is also a type of experience of death. Some of you have made final decisions about how you want to contribute. Children are just not in the cards for some of y'all. Or if they are, you're just not focusing on trying to make that happen now. You're relieving yourself from the pressure of trying to start a family, relieving yourself from the pressure of trying to perform womanhood, trying to perform manhood. But if we also look at the financial part of it, I mean, of course, a lot of people are like, for obvious reasons, financially, if I can't support myself or support another like person, you're making these decisions, right? Sperm banks, egg donations, non-traditional ways of interacting or engaging with fertility in society. So being a form of a donor, because even surrogacy could be coming up here, because there's, maybe I'm willing to engage with it, but the other aspects of parenthood, like I don't want to be a parent, but I'm willing to donate something, or I'm willing to contribute. And if it's not just about like fertility, mind you, because even like a non-traditional way could be IVF. And there are communities that have their opinions about what's actually natural, what's not. We could even be looking at, well, there's something I create naturally, right? Organically. Blood drives. Screening. Having to, express, and then make sure you're resting as well. And then knowing that you're contributing, but in exchange, and like if you get paid or not, you're helping. You're being of service in a way that you can afford to. In a way that you are inspired to. And I do feel like with the Fool, there's a lot of people like, you're crazy. You're crazy. But they don't care. You don't care. I think you've been shamed enough. You've been shamed enough to where it's like, when I've been shamed before, things still had to happen. I still had to, I still got certain results. I'm still here. So do I really need to entertain what other people are expecting of me? Or can I don't have to uphold certain systems at play. In fact, this could even be talking about like gender fluidity, exploring that, wearing more, if I may put a strong emphasis on like masculinity, like playing around with that, playing around with femininity, playing with like more colorful wardrobe. Maybe deep down, we've always wanted to play with more colors, but it was safer for us to kind of do the black, white, and the grayscale in between to make ourselves invisible or approvable. Also, this is about loving who you want regarding gender or let's say race. I feel like you're at a point to now, you're just gonna choose who you want. You're gonna choose who you want. I'm looking at the Fool's garb here. And for some of you, culture. there's a future partnership where integrating in their culture is going to be very influential for you, just because you want to, because I think you fall in love with it. You end up integrating it into your life. You may even be going there, deciding to travel there, and this may have been a place that you have been warned about before, so on, but I feel like you're in a place to where you formulated your own opinions. Formulating your own opinions, and I think you've realized the common denominator is that you've been happiest when you listen to yourself instead of somebody else's voice. Learning how to like shut off that radio station, learning how to not make your bank as robbable as before, right? Your energy bank as robbable as before. It's like I just think I think you're happy, and we're adjusting. You're happy with how you contribute to society, how you want to contribute to society. I think you're happy with just the way that you're moving right now, despite maybe certain things materially, maybe even relationship-wise. Maybe they might not even be perfect, but there's room for you to express more of yourself. There's room for you to relax. I think some of you may even have an opportunity to speak to a parental figure who is either more empathic now, there's like a very open and like free conversation that either you or this other initiates, and there's something really pleasant about it. I mean, it can get heated. I mean, like voices get up, but the intention behind it isn't to make anybody believe the other. It's like, we're not here to establish dominance. We're not here to establish that kind of order to where somebody has to kind of submit or like it's always a let me put it this way. There always has to be a passcode in order to access somebody's emotions, to earn it, right? We don't need that anymore. In fact, we don't interact with people like that anymore. And I wonder if you and this person had enough space, maybe even like physical space, to where those narratives of one another kind of just started to simmer down. And so your energetic approach, it's structured. You know what you can offer. You know what your bandwidth is. And this person is not abusing their authority. Their intention is to be patient. The Empress is very patient. They also understand more about like the systems of life. Maybe they're in more of like their sunset years, but the cycles of life are clear to them. And by that I mean what they have control over and what they don't. I feel like there has been, you may have taught them a lesson in leadership, a lesson in parenthood, a lesson in like humanity, just from you rebelling. That's civil disobedience. It's like, let me put it this way. Your disobedience inspired them. I wonder if this inspired them to rest, to have different kinds of exchange, to maybe not try to be everything, but do what they're best at or do what they're comfortable with. Do what's more organic and natural to them. I'm going to say this here. With that Nine of Cups, the Empress, and the Six of Pentacles, you may be aware of who you have influenced, or you may be aware that you are just influential. Whether it's your voice being projected, it's your silence, but you understand now more of how you contribute. And you cannot be easily swayed right now. When I say you are comfortable, I mean like you are prioritizing comfort in your life. Some people might call it the soft life. Some people might call this a soft life. But there is also this sense of aggression that can come from this High Priestess in reverse. And when you look at the order, if this is some form of aggression, let's say this is, I talk about fertility a lot, right, in this reading, hormone shifts. This could be us figuring out what to get on or off of. I think it's off of something. Maybe it's like a type of birth control, for example. Get off of so that we can feel free to navigate, to move differently. Okay? This could be alluding to even perimenopause or menopause. And there's a type of freedom that women experience with that. But I have to say right here, if I am talking to any young lady or a woman right now who is not feeling comfortable with, or who's been trying to learn how to feel comfortable with being a woman, there is no wrong way. There is no wrong way to be a woman. In fact, I think a lot of you realize the lie regards like your value. Your life is not over when certain things happen. Your life shouldn't have to be over if you become a mom. Your life shouldn't have to be over if you just decide to get married. Your life shouldn't be over if you decide not to have kids. Your life shouldn't be over, or you shouldn't feel invisible or useless. You see the siren that's going off? None of those should be alarms for you. Those could just be stages of life that we go through, but why does there need to be this passcode? Because of what you've experienced, because of what's been going on around you. That's how order has been kept for a while. So instead of you trying to fight that system, you just decided it's okay. This is why I feel like a lot of you are comfortable right now. You don't need to validate. You don't need to prove I have this, I have that, I accomplished this, I have this in my name. Like you don't need to do any of that. You're like, I don't care right now. I don't care right now because there is no wrong way to be a human. There's no wrong way to present myself as a woman. There's no wrong way to want to share of my heart, my time and energy. I'm not cruel for wanting to put me first. I'm not cruel for wanting to be treated softer. I'm not cruel for wanting reciprocity. I'm not cruel for knowing my value. In fact, my life simply isn't older the more that I progress through life. When my access to fertility or my ability to procreate is questioned, I don't carry the burden of what other people are thinking as much anymore. That's really what I'm picking up here. I'm picking up here. You figured something out. Maybe you've also influenced another person in your life to figure something out regarding expectations. And it's like everybody who's resonating with you is just taking a step back. And we're just deciding what's best for us and sitting in that shamelessly. Going through the stages of life, getting older, even like the idea of like, oh, I don't want people to know how old I am. Oh, that's a system at play to make you uncomfortable with what naturally happens to you. And there's always a way that you can contribute no matter what stage of life you're at. I've talked about how I've walked back past senior centers and how just having a discussion with them, there's so much wisdom in these people. They're still serving society. There's even wisdom from children because they see what they see. And when we make it safe for them to see what they see, everything is lifted. And I feel like that's part of what some of y'all might be having with like a guardian or a parental figure, whether they're dead or alive. There is something about observation and vision that is much clear. There's clarity now. There's so much more clarity. And that I feel like there's like an open space now. We can openly express this without the intent having to be domination to maintain some form of like binary order. There's some fluidity here. There's expression, and it's like singular expression, a selfishness that naturally comes with a shamelessness that other people see when you have faith in you. There will always be warnings and so on, but there is such a strong connection that you have with moving on your own right now, going solo at certain times, or just deciding to be solo. and being able to take on the chin what other people have to say. And the more you mind your energy, the more you, for some of you, it's guarding your womb. The more you do that, the more you realize, I can choose to worry about that, or I can just keep showing up in the way that feels best for me. Maybe I have a hybrid job. Maybe I can, to have a comfortable life, maybe I do have to work a little bit on the weekend. That's fine with me. It helps me maintain a life I'm comfortable with. And I feel like also with it showing, a lot of you might be making content around living this lifestyle, making the choices that you've made. You see that shamelessness that you're willing to display? You know people are going to have opinions about it. But there's a part of you that I feel needs to show your colors. Show your colors. See how it's like, this is very uniform. Even the color of the rose, that surrender there, matches the warning, right? But look at where they are positioned behind. You're all right. And if you're having any trouble, or you notice how all right you're feeling, it is safe for you to feel this good all the time. I was actually walking my dog last night, and I was just thinking about how good it felt to just be able to be present. And I noticed, I was like, there's a part of me that used to feel guilty for feeling good, because it was like, well, the shoe's eventually gonna drop, something's gonna happen. I'm like, change is guaranteed though. Changes in life will happen. People we love will, pass on and so on. But we don't need to borrow grief from another time. Getting into this feeling happy all the time, that's our sixth sense of intuition. That's allowing us, like, yeah, it's safe to keep going here. That signal that you saw, that you made for yourself, yeah, it's showing up more and more because you're here. You're with yourself. And it's safe to be here, even if it's in this environment that may have not physically changed for you yet. So allowing yourself to feel this comfortable and happy for extended periods of time, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And you can give yourself permission. You don't need permission from anybody else to be happy about yourself. You can give yourself permission to be inspired by what you've done, what you've overcome, what you're choosing, where you want to go. You give yourself permission to feel that connection in every moment. And you don't have to feel ashamed of it. Yes, it's not supposed to feel comfortable at first, because you're literally attuning yourself to a new body. Okay, you're rewiring your cells, you're rewiring the neurons here and here. You're working through these brain centers. And at times it is a private matter, and at other times you will maybe reach out for help. There's that balance. Your money is going where you want it to, and you're also receiving that. The exchange is simple to you now. The math's not complicated. And I love this for you. Okay? So with that being said, I thank you so much for joining me. I intend that you are feeling even more energized to rest into this space of receptivity, that you continue to contribute the way that you feel comfortable. You know your bandwidth, you know your non-negotiables, you know yourself. You know what's your business and what's meant to be shared at the right time. And don't be scared of being influential. You're already doing it. You're already inspiring people to be with themselves in peace and without shame. And that's what society needs right now. It's you as is. Okay? So I love you very much. Again, I thank you for joining me. Continue to have faith in yourself. Keep following your inspiration, moving the way that you feel guided within to move, because it is safe now. And it's safe because you created safety for yourself. You did that work. And I'm proud of you too. All right? So until next time, bye-bye.